What's going on, guys? It's Stribbers and welcome to episode 39 of PGR2 Road to Platinum. So we are one race off from completing the Extreme Series, so we're going to be tackling that today and the first three events in the next series that we unlock. So the last event is a street race, so we're going to go ahead and pick the F50 for this race. Platinum difficulty, let's go. This is in Yokohama, 3 laps in the wet, and this is the same track that we did in the Pacific Muscle Series, and unfortunately it does lag a little bit. It's worse when there's more cars around us, but there is a little bit of lag going on here. But we managed to get quite lucky on the first corner there and shoot straight into third place behind the Jag and then the F40, which is in front. So that's quite good. It's quite easy to get caught up in that first corner, especially when it's lagging that badly. It's quite hard to control the car sometimes because your input to the game's a little bit delayed. But we're managing just to get on the inside of the Jag there, and side by side in acceleration, but just managed to get ahead, so he has to brake or back off slightly there because the Jag is a little bit better in the straight line than the F50. So we've just got the F40 now to try and catch up. 2.1 seconds ahead, so definitely catchable at this point. This F40 always seems to get ahead on the Extreme Series, always a few seconds, and then the Jaguar just gives us a little boot up the arse there, having to try and get away from him so that doesn't happen again because it pushed us way too wide. So I was going to go a bit defensive there, but then he just completely takes me out, but luckily he slowed down as well and I was able to regain the control of the car. So we're back where we were at the start of the other lap, trying to chase down this F40. Well, not quite at the start of the other lap, halfway through the other lap should I say, but we're 2 seconds behind again, so we're not really caught him at this point due to the Jaguar being a pain in the arse. F40 is obviously going to be better on the straights, so it's mainly down to how we can corner this F50 to try and catch him up. A little bit of lag coming through these corners though, but 1.6 seconds now to the F40, so we are gaining on him. And luckily the Jag is 2.5 seconds behind now, so he won't be troubling us, hopefully. Cutting on the inside on that corner does minimise the distance, but I don't think you get as much speed coming out as you do following the racing line. As you see, the F40 is pulling away quite a bit there. So we've only got one more lap to try and get ahead of him. We have gained on him quite a bit, a few tenths per lap. But we are right behind him now, looking for the inside on this corner, giving a tap of the power slide. Unfortunately we're side by side here and he's got the better running with the speed. And we know what happens if you don't back out there, he's just going to slam us against the wall. So we have to back out and concede the racing line to him. Pulling up side by side in this corner, he is going to be faster, but we do have the inside just. So I was able just to give him a little tap out the way. Nothing too malicious, but pushing him wide, allowing us to get in front with only a few corners left to go, so it was quite important that I made that move there. As you can see now, we've just got the one corner before the straight, so that should be fine. Even though the F40 is better in the straight line, we've got quite a healthy distance there in front. Just over a minute for that lap time, nicely across the line. 2,500 kudos, is it? Yeah, oh no, more than that, 2,700 is it? With the fastest lap, yeah, 2,700. 1.3 seconds behind he was, so that's pretty good. 7,700 altogether. So that's the Extreme Series done, guys. And we've unlocked the Ultimate Series. A long road so far, but we finally got to the last series. Only a few episodes left to go. As you can see, all the series we've done so far. So we've literally just got the last one to do before we can grab ourselves that TVR, Speed 12. So we've got 3 street races to do. I think they were all on the Nurburgring there. I saw the first 2. I'm pretty sure all 3 are on the Nurburgring. So let's jump into the garage and have a look at the cars. So the 2 starter cars are the 4GT and the Celine S7. The 4GT is the worst car in the class. It's not a bad car at all. As you see the stats, it's actually pretty good. And it handles quite well. It's just lacking in acceleration and top speed compared to the rest of the class. So it does get dropped, but it's actually surprisingly nimble. A lot more nimble than the Ford GT40 was in the Extreme series. The Celine S7 holds itself a lot better in a straight line. It's got decent acceleration in the class, doesn't massively get dropped, and pretty good top speed as well. Handling's not the best, doesn't power slide too much, but it does feel a bit heavy and it's not too nimble. So it's definitely not the best in the class, but it's certainly okay. Then we've got the Porsche Carrera GT. Unfortunately, this is massively down on power. Okay top speed, but it does get dropped quite a bit. It's only quicker than the Ford GT in a straight line, I think, but it does handle very well, and it's very controllable and very planted. Doesn't understeer whatsoever. Oversteers slightly, but it is pretty good for the cone challenges, that one, just because it's so controllable. Then we've got the Koenigsegg CC V8S, which is an absolute monster in a straight line. Well, up until about 150 mile an hour when it switches into 5th gear, and then it does struggle a little bit compared to the other cars in this class. But this thing is crazy up to 150 miles an hour, very, very quick. Not the best handling or brakes, but certainly makes up for it with its straight line speed. Then we've got the Ferrari Enzo, which is pretty, balanced all round. It's very good acceleration, very good top speed, very good at getting to its top speed. It's got good acceleration throughout all of the range. Very, very good handling as well. Does understeer a little bit, and it is a little bit uncontrollable sometimes at the lower speeds. Does tend to power slide quite a lot. And then we've got the Pagani Zonda S, which is a pretty decent car again. Pretty good acceleration, not quite as good top speed, and does start to get caught towards the higher end of the speeds. And the handling's okay, and the brakes are pretty good. So this is another pretty good car, I'd say. So that's all the cars that you can unlock with tokens, and there's also 3 bonus cars in this. We've got the Mercedes-Benz CLK-GTR, the Porsche GT1, and the TVR Speed 12. So you unlock the CLK-GTR by completing the Kudos World Series on Gold. And this is a quick car. Up to around 150 mile an hour, like the Koenigsegg, it really does pull away. Very good handling. Probably the best handling in the class, I'd say. Very planted. Doesn't understeer, really. But the top speed is pretty poor in the class. About 195 miles an hour, I think. So it's not very good. Porsche GT1 is a very good car as well. Very good handling, very good acceleration, and pretty decent top speed. This is probably more suited to the Nurburgring, and the Mercedes is more suited to just the normal tracks you can go on outside of the Nurburgring. But they're both very strong. The Porsche GT1 has better top-end acceleration, and the Mercedes has better low-end. But the TVR Speed 12 is just madness. This car is just the best in pretty much every department. Crazy speed all the way through up until its top speed. Crazy acceleration, much quicker than anything else. The Koenigsegg's the only thing that can nearly keep up with it to about 150 miles an hour. Very good handling. It does tend to slide more than like the Enzo does around the Nurburgring and stuff, but yeah, that is a pretty insane car. So that's what we're striving for in this series, is to unlock that. So assuming we've got none of the special cars, the best 2 in this class are the Koenigsegg and the Ferrari to use. Sometimes the Zonda's quite good, and the Porsche is good for cone challenges. But in this street race, I probably should have used the Enzo, mainly due to this Koenigsegg's top speed. As you see, when it switches to 5th gear, we'll see on the next straight. So we got to 3rd there, going past all the other cars in this race. But we're gaining there, and then we switch to 5th gear, and it just doesn't have the same acceleration as the other cars in the class. Even the Zonda's trying to get past, but the Enzo was starting to pull away, but luckily he went onto the grass, which stopped him accelerating, and also the Zonda just came up on our inside there, and we did block him off. So that stopped him getting past. But the Koenigsegg's got a good top speed. It just takes a while to get there in 5th gear. It's very strange. But I'd say for any Nurburgring event, use the Ferrari Enzo. because it's so much better when you're sort of already going quickly and accelerating in that sort of range through the higher gears. It's very quick at that point, and this is what the Nurburgring is. You very rarely, you know, slow down to sort of 50-60 miles an hour like you do on normal circuits, which is where the Koenigsegg's better. But nevertheless, we still beat the Enzo and the Zonda in that one. So that's the Koenigsegg used for the for the first race. Jumping into the garage for the second race at Nurburgring. Going for the Zonda for this second one. Pretty decent car. Not quite as good as the Ferrari or the Koenigsegg, but certainly decent enough to win on Platinum. On most circuits anyway. So it's got very good acceleration off the line. As you see, beating the Celine there. Catching up to the Porsche a little bit, but the Celine was starting to pull back a little bit in this gear there. Just braking behind the Porsche because he's got the racing line there. But in front of the Porsche there is the Zonda and also the Enzo in front of that. Going for the inside into the carousel just to try and block off the Porsche so we can get that position, which we do. And they always go wide out of the carousel, following a weird line which allows us just to pull straight past into first place, which is always good. Yeah, the brakes and the handling on the Zonda are pretty decent actually. Probably understeers slightly, but overall it's a decent car. I'll probably say this is the third best car, excluding the bonus cars. I'll treat them as separate in the group because most people at this point, well, I'd say most people, during a normal playthrough, you wouldn't have unlocked those cars, but if say you've completed on gold and you've got the Mercedes or the Porsche GT1, they are the better cars to use. But in terms of the 6 cars you can unlock, the Enzo and the Koenigsegg are the best, and then the Zonda is probably the third best, I'd say. It's pretty decent. So we jump into the third and final event for this episode. So we've used the Koenigsegg, we've used the Zonda, so it's time to use the Enzo on this section of the Nurburgring. Going around the carousel with the camera there. So the 6 cars in this one again. And we've got, I think there's 2 Zondas there this time. So we fly past the Celine, get past that Ford GT. I think there's 2 Zondas and another Enzo there. So I think the Enzo is definitely the best on this sort of track. Like I said before, feels much more stable at the higher speeds and much more unstable at the lower speeds. Not doing that corner particularly well there. Trying to remember this track because I haven't actually driven this track in a while since Forza is probably the last time I drove it. But that Zonda sent the other Zonda to a different dimension there. Absolutely slammed him against the barrier. Some rivalry going there between the 2 Zondas, but we go past that Zonda into second place behind the Ferrari. Don't know what happens there. He must have gone on the grass again, but he slows right down, allowing us to pass. Going around the second carousel in the lead. Very nice indeed. Just got this last sweeping right-hand corner before the main straight. Yeah, as I said, I need to practice the Nurburgring a bit more, especially on this game. It's a little bit of a different experience, but we'll get there in the end. You don't have to drive it perfectly to beat the AI on Platinum, so. But get fastest lap, obviously, because we won, so that's very nice. And that's the last Platinum medal for this episode, so that's very good indeed. 6,000 kudos there. So guys, that's going to do it for this episode. So in the next episode, we've got a street race to do, a cone challenge, another street race, and another cone challenge. So 2 cone challenges in one episode, so that should be interesting. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, guys. If you did, please like and consider subscribing if you're new for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.